and welcome to episode 7 of Creative Chats. And today we have another very, very special guest for you. We have John Tomkins here. John, please introduce yourself.
So I'm John Tomkins. I love creativity and I'm a freelance filmmaker, and also I'm director of the English Riviera Film Festival.
Awesome. Very exciting. We always love anyone who loves creativity on the show, hence the name. Woohoo! It's very great. Right. So you're a filmmaker.
Yeah. So I suppose the reason why I'm a filmmaker, I love telling stories, and what a better form to tell stories through filmmaking. And they can be fictional stories that I've worked collaboratively on with filmmakers on scripts, or they can be of late. Most of my work is documentary work, and they're the most exciting stories because they're real stories, things that actually happened.
Yeah, sounds very exciting. Have you had got any documentaries that your favorite that you've worked on recently?
Yeah. So with all the craziness going on, a lot of us lost a lot of work, and we couldn't go out and film it, I think. And the Arts Council very kindly were giving bits of money to creatives out there, and Torbay Culture very kindly applied for a small grant, and I got it. And I got to make 3 documentaries. The entire project is called Create to Recover. So you've got in there, you've got dancers, you've got poets, you've got music, and we all worked on sort of different projects together under this banner called Create to Recover. And I chose to shine a light on, I live in Torbay, on the 3 towns of Torquay, Paignton and Brixham. So 3 different documentaries on each town.
That's very exciting. I'd love to watch those, considering I also happen to grow up in Brixham, Paignton and Torquay. I would love to watch those. Are they out? Are they released?
Yeah.
Or are they...
Oh yeah. So there's film on the Battery in Brixham. Amazing place, amazing group of people, lovely people there, and they've restored the battery that was in World War II, and they put a museum there. That's online. It's on the Torquay Museum Society page, because part of the reason why I'm putting these together, a lot of people can't go out and they can't socialize, and it was to give them sort of a lifeline and something to watch, something interesting. The other one is the Palace Theatre Paignton, and we were due to have a premiere of that this month, but obviously things have been delayed, so that's next month at the Palace Theatre on the 17th of December. And the other one, now I know you're heavily into music. There was a gentleman called Lionel Digby, and in the 60s and 70s, he was like a shining light. He brought like the Who, Eric Clapton, David Bowie, Black Sabbath, Susie and the Banshees, all bizarrely to the town hall in Torquay.
Wow.
And the stories there is amazing. I don't know how they fit the people in. I don't know if you've ever been to the town hall. There are 2,000 people in the town hall.
That's crazy. That must have been like just before they sort of broke out and became the international phenomenon that they are today. That's incredible. Oh, we'll talk about the town hall a bit later then, I guess. That sounds like a very interesting place.
Yeah.
So that does sound really interesting, your documentary work you're doing now. Now I can see the banner behind you says English Riviera Film Festival.
Yeah.
While it's here, let's talk a little bit about that. How many years has this been going on for?
So it started in 2015, and I'm the kind of person, I have to be doing something creative. And I was on holiday in the job I was working at the time. And I noticed there was an advert in the paper for the Riviera Fringe Festival. And it was sort of based around the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. And there was a lovely lady called Anne George. And I phoned her up and said, and I just put it out there, I thought, I'll put on a film day for you. It said, just find me a venue. And that was at the Torbay Hotel. and I gathered a load of film friends together, and it was just to put a focus on Torbay, because sometimes we get forgotten that there's all these amazing filmmakers about that make amazing things. It was to focus that, and that was our beginnings. It was on the bingo screen in in the cinema that's there, and I put some things together there, and a load of filmmakers came along. One of my friends, Alex, and a load of other people came along. They did some interviews with filmmakers, and that was our beginnings. And it was like, sort of DIY film festival.
That's really cool. Was it with things like that, was it something that you sort of put on and then you were sort of surprised at the turnout, or was it something that you knew was really needed for Torbay?
I mean, my passion has always been filmmaking, but also supporting the local area, because I believe that we should have some big productions down there. We should, don't go to Cornwall, come here. I mean, Cornwall's great, but also focus on where we are, because we got amazing scenery in the English Riviera. And I just wanted to focus. I had no idea how many people were going to turn up. It was a big learning curve, and it's a stressful thing to put on, because you're thinking that you're spinning all these plates, making sure the filmmakers are all right, but also I'm thinking, every time I do something, I'm thinking what the audience is going to feel when they walk in. Does it work? There's banners, there's interesting stuff when they first walk in. How long they're going to, what films we're showing, that you don't put too many films on, like for 90 minutes of short films, because people might get bored. You need a break.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of logistics to figure out, I guess, with all that going on.
But the greatest thing about this, so the first one I pretty much put on myself with the help of friends, and then there was another group that were looking to put a film festival on, that I joined up with them, and a few of those members came aboard to support me. But it's just having faith in people and collaborating, and just asking the question. But being cheeky. Give an example of that. There was film producers in London, and they wanted a free pass to get their film entered. This was 2017, and I just said, well, why don't you premiere film down the English Riviera? And they said yes, and they came down on holiday.
Wow, that's really cool. What film was that?
I think it was Annie Waits, the film was called.
Okay.
And they're a production company called Mini Productions, and they've been with us every year because the quality of their work, we have judges every year. And one thing, I always get people thanking me for their film being accepted. It's not me that accepts the film, so that I don't have any influence on the judges. I made that fair, because otherwise I would just let all my mates' films in. That wouldn't be fair on the filmmakers. So every year the judges choose the films, and they've chosen some really good films over the years. That
sounds great. Yeah, it's always good to have that impartiality there when doing things like the judging and all that. So yeah, it sounds really, really exciting. Is there anything new that you're bringing to the festival this year? I mean, of course, it'll be different.
Oh yeah, in some respects. I mean, across the creative, if you're a musician, if you're a filmmaker, if you're an artist, we were all affected when lockdown happened. And it's justifying your job, because there was that big thing out, why don't you retrain and get another job? But, since Roman times, there's always been creative people, there's always been artists. And in some respects, when lockdown happened and we were going to do a live event, in my head, I thought, we are not going to cancel this festival. It's definitely going to happen. So we're going online. And in some respects, we've got a bigger program, because I can do things like we're doing now. I can do Zoom calls with filmmakers, and we got some brilliant panels with feature films, large productions across the Southwest. So it's putting a focus on you know, from literally we got age 10 to age probably early 70s in our age groups and people that we're focused on this year.
That's great. Wow. Yeah, the film festival, I'd imagine, I mean, as you said about the English Riviera in particular, I think it's great that, you know, Torbay, the English Riviera, has that area, because I've talked to a few musicians, I've talked to some photographers down there, but like in a place that is so scenic, it's very surprising. It would be surprising if there wasn't people videoing it as well.
Oh yeah, it was amazing because obviously we have Roger Deakins. He grew up in the English Riviera, and he went on to do things like working with the Coen Brothers and doing the cinematography for Skyfall. He's gone on to you know, sort of better things, but obviously he must have been inspired by where we live. There's another filmmaker called Danny Cook who's made some fantastic films and worked with did a documentary about songwriter in Torquay that went to do the album cover of an artist called, I think it's John Mayer.
John Mayer?
Yeah, and they did a little film on that. And you've got all these people that that just you need to shine a light on what they're doing and you know, and get their films out to a wider audience.
Yeah. A noble cause, a very noble cause. Brilliant. You sound like you have a big connection to that sort of area. Have you always lived there? Have you grown up in the Riviera, or is it something that you moved to?
Yeah, I moved here in 2000, and I moved here with a job completely different. I was deputy manager of Burton's, the clothing retailer in Torquay. And over the time being here, so I didn't know anyone. I knew about 5 people here. So, and bizarrely, it's the filmmaking took a back burner. I mean, I've got a book here, How to Get into Filmmaking, BFI. I used to read that at Gatwick Airport when I worked there in about '93, and yeah, always had aspirations. But I went into sound engineering. I did a course at a place called Applestone Studios, and that was my first sort of glimpse on the amazing creativity in the Bay. And I went to jam nights and things. I got to know the musicians crowd, and started doing my own music videos as you do when YouTube came out. That was brilliant. And MySpace was fantastic because you could create something and it will go out to an audience other than your friends, which is awesome. Yeah. I mean, it's great playing it to your friends, but you don't just do it there. You want to go to an audience beyond that. And I suppose through that, I did that thing. It's so corny. Literally, I was at a party and I thought, I went up to 2 musicians. So, do you want some music videos? I'll do it for free. Because I thought nobody's going to take me seriously if I just do music videos for myself. And that every year it led on to more creative films. We sold out the Abbey Road Cinema with a film I did called They're Coming, which was an action thriller. Old Way, we shot there. We did a Waiting Room for the Afterlife, like a Tim Burton-ish, Terry Gilliam-like film there. That led on to other stuff. But as I kept making these things and my friends kept making films, I thought, yeah, we need to get these films out to our audience other than our friends. And that's what led into the English Riviera Film Festival.
You bring up a point about social media, but also a point about sort of, you know, you have like a sort of set group of friends and you can share your videos around. As a musician particularly, I find it super difficult sometimes to break out of that, to the general person, to get the general person on the street in your town or in your area, to get your music, videos, photography, anything like that out to them. How have you found ways of doing that, getting the interest from people outside of your circle?
Well, I think it's knowing your audience. So I'll give you an example of this. I did a film with a local poet called Robert Garnham, and it was called Beard Envy. And it was all to do with a guy that was envious of people with beards. And and before I started the film, I typed into Google beards. It's a massive industry. There's all these, you know, balms and things to do with people with beards. And I thought, that's an audience. And through a lovely lady called Sarah Bell at the Lucky Number 7 Club in Paynton, I went in there. Amazing venue, absolutely amazing. Her husband does these amazing artworks on the wall. There was this amazing table that he'd done of David Bowie, and I love, massive fan of David Bowie. And went in there. I said, "Do you know anybody with beards?" And she said, "I know the Southwest Beard Club." I was like, "The Southwest Beard Club?" And I was like, "Is there such a thing?" And then I had, you know, 2 months later, I was filming the Lucky 7 Club, putting on a fake beard competition with 34 members of the Southwest Beard Club. And the brilliant thing about that, they were amazing people, lovely people, and it was a new audience. And just by the sheer number of extras that we had in that and sharing it with their friends, we were lucky enough to get into 2 festivals in New York. One was in sort of New York near Broadway, and the other one was I wish I'd gone. It was a drive-in cinema in New York State, and I was thinking that's a different audience. But just by thinking before I started, where's this thing going? We reached a much bigger audience, and we got ourselves an Amazon Prime as well.
Oh, awesome!
With that film, but yeah. But that was just. But everything I do now, I'm getting excited. How do I get this thing out to a big audience?
That's really cool. That's a really, really great story about the beards.
Yeah.
Is that what you sort of do? You sort of try and reach out to different societies, different clubs, different places like that, and try and
there's a Facebook group called Torbay Undiscovered. It's all about local history. So then I was thinking about doing these documentaries. I thought that's an audience, but also I say my music influences. There's a gentleman called Nick Kershaw that people might have heard from the 80s, did a song called Wouldn't Be Good, but he's more probably famous for a younger generation because he wrote Chesney Hawkes, The One and Only. And there's another gentleman called Howard Jones that was in that particular era. And I watched loads of interviews and David Bowie interviews, and they all talk about audiences. I mean, Howard Jones says he's always thinking about the audience, and that's all I'm thinking about. How do I, but it's not just the audience, how do you cheer somebody up? I remember going to jam nights and, you know, going completely mental behind a keyboard, jumping up and down things, but I always think about the audience, because my audience was somebody who's had a really bad day at work, you want to cheer them up.
That's a really good way of thinking about it.
Yeah. And so like David Bowie's, what an inspiring guy was, and he had a loyal audience. Whatever he did, he always had that loyal audience with where he went to and things. And I always got inspired by Bowie, that, you know, he kept evolving as you know, each album went along.
Yeah. Do you you've mentioned music a little bit here, and do you write music? Do you mainly produce music? What's your areas in music?
I suppose I get labelled with the 80s label because the music I produce, it's 80s. It's the era I grew up. I mean, in some respects, I would love to have grown up in the 60s or the 70s, you know, those, but you're influenced by the time you grow up. I've got better. I listen to my earlier work, and it's like strangling a cat, you know, that kind of, oh my word. But now there's a lot more thought goes into it, and it's great to be a filmmaker as well, because I can do the music videos with it.
Yeah, that must be very, very handy.
And I recently, earlier this year, I wrote an EP to do with people coping with mental health and the thought processes you're going through. And there was a song called Slightly Faded, and I just done music video, collaborated with a friend of mine called Lemmy Swayze. She was directing the video for a heavy metal act called Hyperdize. And there was a guy on there, the lead singer called Gibbsy Screamer, completely opposite to what I do. And we collaborated on a song together because I'm always up for trying new things. And I was like, that was amazing.
Yeah. Have you done a lot of collaborations with other people, whether they're in the Bay or elsewhere?
I think it was just that one, because I suppose music, I started doing the songwriting, led into videos, and then the filmmaking's just taken over. But every now and then I'm working on something at the moment. But whereas before, you know, we have aspirations to go on top of the pots or something like that, or have big success. To me, it's just fun for me. I'm more interested in the filmmaking than the music. So.
That's fair. Did you always expect to be a filmmaker when you were growing up? Or...
Yeah. I suppose well, also got a little prop here. So there was a film called The Rocketeer that came out in '91, and it was a guy with a rocket pack. It's like an Indiana Jones kind of thing, set in the same kind of era. But I came out of the cinema thinking I want to be a film director, because it's that moment in a film that you're like, yeah. I was watching The Untouchables because fortunately we've lost Sean Connery recently, and I thought I'll check out The Untouchables again. Brilliant film. And the reason why it's brilliant, it's the pacing of it, it's the camera work, it's the emotion in it. And I really wanted to be a filmmaker. And it was all about entertaining people. Whatever it is, if you're writing a song, it's a film, it's the entertainment aspect.
Entertainment aspect, yeah. What was some of your earliest, thinking back, what was some of your earliest sort of productions that you did? Have you got any like hilarious or really great memories from them?
One of my first music videos, it's also a confidence thing. So I remember when I first started playing music, it took me 2 weeks to go up to the guy that was doing music nights to just play. And my first music video was me running down my hallway, and I figured I could overlap something. I was running with the guitar, and then I could disappear, because I did that tripod thing, and you did a shot of me out of shot, and I disappeared. And I remember it was called Like an Angel, and I remember Bob Dylan did that famous thing with placards when he threw one away. I don't know if you ever seen. I think it was a Bob Dylan music video when he said a word, it's like a process, and he threw it and he threw that card away, and then he had another card, and I did that. And I look back at that, I think, you know, it's very primitive. It was a lot of posing by me, trying to pose like an 80s pop star. Yeah, you have your embarrassing things, but I never take those offline, because it shows a progression from where you were to where you are now.
Yeah, that's something I find a lot of people have when they progress through their work is they always have that question: do they take their old stuff off, or do they leave it on? And I think with the way people interact with creatives now, I think we're more likely to leave it on, because I think people love, like, you know, music, photography, all that kind of thing, but they're also, with the age of social media, there's this massive emphasis on the things behind it as well. And I think people love to see that progression, because people want to be with someone as they journey from underground to superstar. So I think sometimes having that earlier stuff it could be, you know, people like that in a way now. It's become more of a thing where people like to look back on artists.
Yeah, and something I've learned over the years is to be humble what you do. Because I always have this theory: the minute you think it's like, oh yeah, I'm a director of English Riviera Film Festival, and it goes to your head, that's when it all falls downhill. Because your humbleness will, you know, there's always people out there to help, and if you're nice to them, it will grow. if
Yeah.
you suddenly get an ego about it, it's when it falls down.
Yeah. Have you found, yeah, because I've talked to many people and we've all sort of said like networking is such a massive part of being in this industry. Have you also found that with the film festival?
Definitely, and I've learned to it's to let go of certain stuff. It's to, you know, have faith in people. I mean, this year, Grace Clifford, she's been brilliant. Now she's the host of our first Women in Film panel, which is awesome. Looking at all the panels, it's the best one. It's not because they're women, it's because it's what they're talking about, the filmmaking, how they've been inspired to get into film and things, and it's a really, really fantastic panel.
That's good. I'm glad there's good. Have you found there's been a big, do you find there's many things like that, you know, women in film? Do you find it's a growing thing, or do you think it's still a predominantly male or maybe a predominantly female thing? I don't know.
I mean, there's a film festival called Amplify, which is Cornwall, is it Cornwall, Cambridge, Bath, and I think there's another film festival. 50% of the films, it's on now, 50% of the films are women directors. And we've always been, it's male film, it's put on the film, but previous years we've had our best film, best director, best cinematographer have been women. It's based on the film.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't see the differential. I'm glad that we're supporting women in film, which is, you know, that's fantastic. And across the world, diversity is key, because that's the world we live in. Diversity should be shown on screen, because that's the world.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Oof. Where to talk about? So the film festival, when is the date of it?
So it's the 23rd to the 28th of November. Monday to Friday, we got stuff on every night. And then the Saturday is the awards ceremony. We have I go and grab one. We keeping local. So the awards started in 2017. And we've expanded the awards every year. So we start with best film, English Riviera Film Festival, which goes to a Devon film, best actor, best actress, best screenplay, best makeup, best animated film, best cinematography. Every year, I hope we grow to a point that we got as many awards as, say, like the Oscars and Emmys. Not saying we're no way is that sort of kind of level, but we what's the word? We focus or give acknowledgement to all the different departments that make a film. So every year we give out awards. Now these are made by the Hourglass in Cockington, and this is one of the awards.
Wow.
That's the audience award. And of the awards I love this look. So it's like a silver blue inside. And on the English Riviera Film Festival page, I went down to give a focus to show how the awards are made, and they make it look so easy. I won't have a clue.
Yeah. Whereabouts did you say? Cockington?
Yeah. It's just, if you go to the house, or you're looking on Google, go through the house or go upstairs, and then at the back there's there's artists and workstations there. You've got an ironmongers, and opposite there is Hourglass, and you can actually see how they make the glass.
That's incredible. I've been to Cockington, as I said, you know, sometimes you grow up in places and you just you sometimes you don't even realize everything that's there. And
it's amazing. And so every year, so we've got 10 of those to give out this year. And the great thing about we do an audience award. So on the Saturday when we stream out the films, and this will be bookable via Eventbrite, you can vote for your favourite film. And at the moment, to be confirmed, it'll probably be about 5 o'clock that we say who the winner is.
Very exciting.
On the day. So, but we've got things like we got Alien Outbreak, which is an alien invasion film on Dartmoor. We got the cast and crew of that, and my cat's just coming to say hello.
Oh, I am. It's okay. I am a massive cat lover, so I don't mind having a little cat intrude.
So this is Poppy.
Oh.
Doesn't understand.
Poppy's a great.
Oh,
Poppy's a good cat name.
There you go.
Aww.
Oh, she's gone now. Yeah, so it's going to be the Ballad of the Lucy Sands. So I just shut the window. So we've got the Ballad of the Lucy Sands, which is one of the largest productions I've seen in the Southwest in a long while. That's got about cast and crew of 300. It's yeah. So we got I interviewed 24 members of the cast and crew. So we got 2 panels on that. Then we, feature film directors. We all love making short films, and we got 5 feature film directors talking about how they made their films and how do you get your film into Sainsbury's and Tesco's, because some of them have done that as well.
Sainsbury's and Tesco's.
Yeah,
is that like the stores nationally, or just sort of the local?
Nationally, on DVD nationally.
Wow,
amazing.
That's really interesting, because you always look at some of the Sainsbury's and you'd never imagine that there's like, you know, the big blockbusters and then an indie film on the same shelf. You never imagine that, but is that a common thing?
Not so much, but it's just, I suppose, again, it's before you start the film called Alien Outbreak. The team that made that are absolutely awesome, and the director also does loads of special effects, and the special effects, I actually said to him, you know, realistic. It's getting that balance that they blend in with the environment, and yeah, no, they've done really well, and yeah, it's just I suppose it's knowing what film you're going to do before you start and where it's going. Knowing that there'll be an audience for that before you make them.
Absolutely, that's really cool. Well, yeah, I'm now very, very excited for the film festival. Personally, I would imagine if anyone's watching this, they are also probably very excited for the film festival.
It's going to be awesome. Hopefully, we got something for everyone there. We're also I'm in the process of talking to Talking Museum. We're looking to do a competition for young filmmakers, sort of teenage years, to make a film. But I should know more about that. That's literally happening this week. We're talking about that because in the past we've done acting workshops with a gentleman called Simon Tiddley. He brought along his animation rig for stop motion animation, and we've the previous lockdown, we did a show called the English Riviera Film Festival show, and we interviewed filmmakers from across the world, because these awards have gone to Japan, Canada, Los Angeles, Netherlands, France. That's the amazing thing about it, because I look like there's a piece of English Riviera there that's going to another country.
That's incredible.
And it widens. Actually, the most nerve-wracking moment is when I get an email from a director-producer. They were coming from Italy, and they said, see you on the day. This 2017, is it? And I didn't believe the email, and they turned up. I was like, and it's like expectation. What are they going to think about this film festival? And they've come all the way from Italy.
Yeah. What did they think of it in the end? Did they like it?
Oh, no, they loved it. Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant.
And I think we went for fish and chips after the.
You gotta. Well, if you're in the bay, you got to. You can't not. Can you?
Yeah, I mean, that's a terrible British thing. And everything and chips.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, I think we're coming almost to the end of the chat now. It's been amazing to have you on. I think if I remember, we were going to talk a little bit more about the Great Hall in Torquay. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
so. I just wanted to ask: are they still doing events? Like,
So at the moment, the thing about the town hall and its history, it sort of emanates what's going on at the time. So at the moment, it's for PPE, and it's for like a food bank for people that need it in the bay. But it's been used. Say Agatha Christie there. Agatha Christie was there as a nurse during the war. The Queen's been in there, and it sort of emulates what's happening at the time. There's no music events as such. I remember collaborating with an event in 2006, which is called Oxjam, and I believe that's still going. But it was Oxjam at the town hall with loads of local bands and things there. But Lionel was sort of the shining light in the 60s and 70s, because it was before, I suppose, bands did the big arena tours. It's when rock and roll, from what I understand, in the 50s and 60s, there were some cafe bars where rock and roll started. And that's where he had the idea of tying out dance halls and things down here, bringing acts down. But he used to literally look at the charts and see who would bring an audience. And he had the Rolling Stones here as well. He had every Roxy Music and things, and he had everybody you can think of. And that's why I'm loving this documentary. So I've interviewed Lionel, and I've interviewed the band. I think they were called Hunter, and they supported the Who at Town Hall. And they had some funny stories of Keith Moon and the famous thing when they used to throw the drum kit into the crowd and smash their guitars and all that rock and roll stuff that we couldn't do now because it'd be quite expensive to our equipment.
Yeah, don't want to damage the venue either. Some of the venues, like if you're playing in a place like the Torquay Hall, or you get a gig at like the Cavern or something like that, you don't want to damage those venues.
No, because you're on the way. But I suppose with them, it's like David Bowie. Apparently, I'm interviewing a lady tomorrow that went to see David Bowie at the Town Hall, and that's gonna be really interesting. We all love we all love Bowie and his different genres. Apart from, I suppose, Tin Machine. The only bit I didn't like, I think, Tin Machine. I didn't get Tin Machine. But all the other stuff like the Outside album and his most recent work, but it's kind of cool to think he came to Torquay.
Yeah, it's
what
very cool.
would it be like seeing him on stage in Torquay?
That's incredible. Well, maybe we might get some more acts coming down here. I do remember we had a show from called Bastille.
Oh yeah.
Bastille came down here. So if we can get a few more acts like that, that'd be brilliant. And also we have like the film festival, we have a load of other great festivals to other creative industries as well down here. We've got Burn It Down Festival is becoming bigger and bigger and bigger every single year and everything like that.
And Pip Rawlins, and I forget what her label is and what she does. She does amazing work of supporting young artists across the southwest and Devon. I've never been one of it. It looks amazing, the stuff that's happening in Powderham.
Yeah, Powderham Castle. That's another really good one. Didn't they have Bryan Adams there recently?
Yeah, I think so. And they do the 80s gigs there.
Yeah, they got Powderham. I think they're doing. I saw an advert for it on YouTube. Actually, I had no idea this was happening. It just came up on YouTube as an advert. I think it was something Go Wild Festival.
Oh yeah.
It features Bear Grylls. It's like a sort of an outdoor camping place. Festival. It's happening 2021. And you're getting people like the Kaiser Chiefs coming down to play as well.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Tons of things. So yeah, it's incredible. I didn't even know that, and that's like going to be happening 20 miles from my old hometown, which is crazy.
Wow. Yeah, no, it's good. We need more of that down there. Maybe a perfect festival would be like a film music festival.
Mm.
show concert films. Because I remember recently, because when I was researching Lionel's thing, he said he went to the Isle of Wight festival and it was the last one, and it was one with Jimi Hendrix, and that looked amazing. Even though the promoter, I think the promoter of that, I think it was the last one, wasn't getting on too well with the crowd. I'm not going to say what language he said, but it looked a very interesting documentary of the, I think, was it the 70s? Somebody probably correct me on the comments on this video.
Yeah. Brilliant. Well, awesome. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show, John.
Yeah, no, it's been brilliant. Yeah. And was it number 7?
It was number 7, yeah.
Don't run.
Episode 7. Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much for, and if anyone watching this wants to find your work, your film festival or anything like that, where can they find it?
So the film festival, just type in English Riviera Film Festival into Facebook and you'll find our Facebook page. Same for Instagram, ER Film Fest. It's our Twitter handle. For me, because I do commercial and creative work, I've sort of split the two. So there's John Tomkins Film Producer, which is my more creative stuff, and my more commercial stuff and documentary stuff is on Emberlense Productions Facebook page.
Awesome, brilliant. All of that will be linked down below if you're watching. So yeah, thank you again, John, for coming on. It's been a really, really interesting chat. It's great that we've had someone from Torbay on, which is really good.
Brilliant. Thanks so much.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you to everyone who's watched. And we'll see you in the next episode. And make sure to follow John, follow me, follow everyone. All nice little bubble of following. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you, John.
Awesome. Thank you.